What's up, my arch fiends of chaos? You already know who it is. It's King Life, it's Events Extort, but I'm not going to go through the opening because I actually wanted to talk about this for a long time. Ever since Hajime Tabata has left Square Enix, this has actually been on my mind for a while, like for a long ass time, and I wanted to actually address the behaviors of the Final Fantasy fanbase, because now it's almost if we're getting as bad as the Star Wars fan base. I mean, look, not every fan and not everything is the same thing, but like this whole thing with Hajime Tabata leaving Square Enix now, partially is due other things, but I think it's the rest is because the fan base is far gone. And I'll tell you what I think is really wrong with the fan base. I think with the fan base is you got new people, like the the current teenagers that are raised under the new, PC parenting. So pretty much, kids don't face no accountability. And because there's no accountability in these homes where these kids are being raised, they grow up to be horrible, toxic people, both online and in real life. These are the kind of people that'll go play the knockout game and punch someone in the face and laugh about like, this is funny, because there's no accountability, because the way parents raise their kids now is they let their kids do whatever they want, and with bad parenting makes these kids go out there and if things don't go their way, they will make sure everything goes their way no matter what circus. This is why I don't like immature people, because there's certain things you can do and certain things you cannot do. Sending death threats, rape threats, murder threats, and all that stuff to, anybody, whether it's famous people or not famous people, because you don't like what they said or you don't like what they have done, is wrong. You cannot do that. You cannot and nothing pisses me off more than degenerates who have no conscience or no concept of accountability, meaning that they feel like they should be able to do whatever they want just because they're born. And I think most of the thing with like the Star Wars fan base, and now it's in the Final Fantasy fan base because of what happened to Hajime Tabata. Look, now I'm not gonna go up here and say that Hajime Tabata was a saint. Did he do some things wrong? Did he make mistakes and errors of judgment? Yes, he has. But the hate he gets is just disgusting. Someone in this fan base, besides Peasant and besides other Final Fantasy tubers, have to go in on these people, because this is not okay. None of this is okay at all. If you really have something to say about a product, you could just, show critique, but not go after. This is why directors close their Twitters off. And not just directors, but any kind of cast for any movies and video games, comic books, etc. There's a good reason why that they don't interact with people on Twitter anymore, is because people act cancerous. Like I said, you got these teenagers that are raised under a single parent that just lets them run free and do whatever they want, and that's the problem. And then they come into these fan bases. At least I think it's these younger people that come to these fan bases, going around here saying stuff and telling people to KYS and all this disgusting behavior that they show. And we've gotten to the point where now fan bases are now treated like cults now, and it's really disgusting. You know, I always tell people, and I tell my community, that what you do in life represents the community. What you do outside does, in fact, represent what community you're a part of. If you go around on social media or even in real life and go around here, trolling, doxing, harassing, sending death threats, rape threats, then you're making your community look bad. You are trashing your community. You are the ignorant one. And I wanted to make this video without being too angry, so that's why I waited for a while, because I didn't want to go on the same level as this. But we need to call this behavior out, because it's disappointing that, Final Fantasy Fanbase has been around for a long while. But it's sad when you got people who come in to the fan base and act a damn fool. Because, now, I'm not going to say I'm a saint. There's times where I kind of overdrew the line at times, and I have, and I've deleted videos that made that so. I have kind of drawn the line at sometimes. But, when you do that, you apologize, you move on, you make a mistake, but there's these people that think that they're right about everything. There's these people that think because they don't face no accountability in the real world, they shouldn't face no accountability in online, and this is where this is wrong. And because of that, whether you like Tabata or you hate him, you gotta admit he was a good director. He took over a project that would took a long time, and he actually made it pretty great. Sure, it was microtransaction, but he still did a good job. And the fact that we discredit this man, the fact we bash Hajime Tabata for little to no reason, I could see why he left. But the point I'm trying to get to is, I think the fan base needs to grow up. I think the current Final Fantasy fan base, the current iteration of the fan base needs to grow up. And I know I'm probably going to get hates, strikes, dislikes, but you know what? I have to say this. The reason why I have to say this is because I face this kind of stuff in my community, on my stream community too. I face the same kind of problems. So, I don't care if I get hate. I don't care if I get dislike. I don't care if I get a strike. I'm going to say that, some people need to grow the fuck up and grow up, because this is too much. This needs to stop. People need to start behaving themselves and quit acting like they belong in a fucking jungle, because this is ridiculous. So I don't care if I get hate or dislike for this video. I don't care what kind of reputation I get from this video, because I'm trying to tell it like it is. And most people don't tell it like it is. Most people are afraid to tell it like it is, and this is why we have the problems we have. I think if you're part of the Final Fantasy fan base and you have a friend who's extreme on what they want in the games, you need to tell them that to back off, to give it time, to back off and give the Square Enix and them room to work on what they're working on, instead of being ridiculous. Now, but like I said, we this needs to stop. And it's not just only the Final Fantasy fanbase. It's just almost every time you go on the internet, you always see someone who goes out their way to be edgy by going around here harassing people, doxing people, just the works. And I've dealt with that with my stream community too, and that's why I think, there's got to at least be one community I could join that does not have these problems. I get that enough of that in my own stream community. Let alone when you go to the Final Fantasy boards on 4chan or Reddit, which I don't do 4chan because those people are kind of degenerates if you ask me. But you shouldn't have to go to a message board and see things like, "Oh, good, Tabata left. He was so bad. I'm so happy." It's disgusting. And, I don't get it. I just don't understand how we get so bad. And then what's worse is we transfer what we do on the internet to go out in the real world and bully, harass, and stalk people in real life thinking that shit's funny. And it's not. It's disgusting, it's degenerate, and I don't sponsor any of this bullshit. You know? As a matter of fact, I'm pro Tabata. You know, I'm pro Hajime Tabata. Because, you know, if we don't stop this kind of behavior, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to escalate and get worse. And I think it's just time to call the fan base out. It's time, since their parents did a horrible job calling them out on their bullshit when they were younger and letting their kids go around and do whatever they want. You know, Daddy King of the Night is going to set you guys straight. You need to grow up. Grow the fuck up. You need to grow up. This is ridiculous. You know, I never seen such immaturity. You know, I never seen this. I have not seen. You guys are, oh man. But you know, you need to grow up. You need to just stop this shit. And you know what? If I see anything on a message board, you know, talking about harassing anyone that works at Square Enix or anything like that, or actors or motion capture actors, voice actors, etc., both on the American side and in the Eastern side, I'm going to report these trolls and bullies. I don't care if you call me a snitch. I'm going to report these trolls and bullies because, you know what, I don't want people to think the Final Fantasy fan base is like this. This is not what we want. We do not want these kind of people. We cut these people off for a reason. These people are disfellowshipped for a good reason. Because we don't want this in our fan base. We don't want this at all. We already deal with enough assholes as it is in the world. But yeah, at the same time. And this is why it's hard for anyone to be on the internet. That's why I've been trying to stay away from Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. Because it's just getting out of control. People are just being assholes for no reasons. Trolling people, harassing people. Just being horrible human beings. And again, like I said, it's because these parents did a horrible job raising these kids because they never got in trouble for what they did. You know? Let alone probably got bad grades in school and the parents like, oh, you can't help it, Timmy. You go play some Fortnite on Xbox or something like that. You're alright. And that's the problem. So, you know, we don't want this in our fan base. So, we don't want this. None of us does. You know, Peasant has actually got a much more detailed reasoning why we don't want this in our fan base, more than I do. Right now, I'm just telling the world my feelings and just being 100% real and telling the fan base to knock it off. So, may the crystal be with you and be a good fan of the Final Fantasy fan base. You know, don't be one of these trolls, cyber bullies, harassers, you know, or anybody like that. Do not be any of those things. Be a good fan. If you don't like something, you can critique it, but don't go out of your way to harass the directors. This is unacceptable behavior. And may the crystal be with you.